Good morning everyone and welcome to Vlogmas Week 3. So it is Saturday morning and I was sitting in my living room on Friday night and I realized that, the last couple weekends have been pretty busy, a lot of fun with family and friends, and I was sitting there last night and I realized I have 0 plans this weekend and I am thrilled about it. I could go the next 48 hours and speak to no one but you all, and I am fine with that. Because although the last couple weekends have been a lot of fun, I just need a weekend to kind of regroup because I haven't been feeling that great. So I just need a weekend to just be alone, get errands done, regroup. We're going to have an incredibly basic 20-something millennial morning because I'm gonna go to Bath & Body Works and Trader Joe's. I don't think I've been to a Bath & Body Works in maybe like 3 years, but I have been craving this one candle that I used to burn back in high school. So I got up today and it's about 9-10 a.m. because I hate going to the mall when it's crowded, especially during Christmas time. And then I also haven't gotten groceries in like 2 weeks, so I'm running super low, so I'm gonna go there too. Yeah, she just has wallflower base and a candle. I am back home and Bath & Body Works got me. I told myself I was just gonna buy one thing and I came home with 5 things. I got 2 Twisted Peppermint, which is the ones that I really wanted, which is Cool Peppermint, Sugared Snow, Buttercream, Fresh Balsam, and Hint of Musk. Then I got Marshmallow Fireside, which is Cedarwood and notes of toasted marshmallow and vanilla. And then just a straight up pine scent, I got Fresh Balsam. I also wanted to show you guys, in case you're a Halo Top addict, I went and got groceries, and if you don't live near an Aldi, I feel bad for you, I'm very sorry, but it's my favorite place to get groceries. They now make basically their knockoff version of Halo Top. I think it tastes exactly the same, if not better, and these are only $1.99. They only have 3 flavors, but it's, I think, less than half the price of normal Halo Top, so that makes me very happy. It's also moments like these where I'm literally standing here talking about my groceries alone that I really hope my friends in real life don't watch these videos, because I know they would just come back and be like, people watch you talk about your groceries. But I'm gonna go watch the special of Sabrina, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. If you guys have any other new show recommendations to watch, please let me know. I watched Bodyguard and I just feel like I have nothing else to watch after that. I know there's lots out there, but I'm at a loss. So if you have any recommendations, let me know. So I've been reading Severance by Ling Ma. Wait, I just realized, gotta turn off the white noise machine. And please let me know if any of you guys have read this, because I have very mixed feelings about it. I'm about 1/4 of the way through, and it's about a woman, she's a millennial, and she's living in New York City when the end of the world occurs. Essentially people, it's not really zombies because they don't eat each other, but they just keep kind of going through their day-to-day routines. It's hard to describe until they die. Like they'll keep resetting the table for hours on end, but the writing style's a little bit off-putting to me, but I'm still intrigued, but I'm curious if any of you guys have read this. Also, tonight I'm gonna do one of these steam masks. I brought a bunch of them back from Japan. You can find them online, but when you open it up, it's activated and it gets really warm and smells like lavender, and I've been sleeping terribly, so I'm hoping that this will help a little bit. Hi everyone, it's Sunday morning and I'm gonna go run an errand that I've been meaning to do for such a long time, which is donate about 30 books or so. I was gonna film an unhaul, but I think you guys know my thoughts on most of the ones I'm donating, so I don't think it'd be that interesting, but it's a lot of thrillers that I thought were pretty average. So Bonfire by Kristen Ritter, The Woman in the Window, No Exit. And I'm gonna be honest, I did think about selling them, but then at the same time I was like, I got these for free. I personally would feel pretty shitty making money off of stuff that I was sent for free. I know I haven't seen Booktubers do that, but I have seen beauty gurus sell makeup to their subscribers that they got for free, and it's personally, I don't know about you guys, I'm curious about your thoughts, but it's always kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, so I'm just gonna go ahead and donate them. I'm also gonna try very hard, because I haven't been to this bookshop before. It's used, it's family owned, and it looks really awesome. I'm gonna try and just pick up one because I have so many books that I need to read, but we'll see how that goes. So I just got back and I did buy one thing. It wasn't a book, but I picked up The Last of Us because I've heard this is a really, really fun horror video game. So very excited about that. But I realized I have not done a Q&A in I think at least a year. So last night I asked you guys to ask me questions on Twitter, and I'm gonna go ahead and answer some of them. I love doing these, not because I think I'm that interesting or I think my answers are particularly interesting, but just because I know the YouTubers I watch, my favorite thing to see them do our Q&A. So let's get into it. So first from Grace, she said, inspired by you, my mom and I traveled to Salem last October and Sleepy Hollows this October. Oh, that's so fun. When I first read this, I thought you said you just went to Salem, but that's so cool you went to both. Where are some other great fall, Halloween, or spooky places you would recommend for October travel? So I would say that Salem and Sleepy Hollow are the two best. I would say Savannah is a surprisingly good place that has a lot of good ghost tours and haunted places, but I have a whole video. It's not called Spooky Places, but it's called something like Things to Do or See on Halloween, and in that I talk a lot about good places to go to, so I'd recommend checking that out. Victoria asks, what is a popular thriller or horror author that everyone talks about but you still haven't read anything of? I don't know that I hear people in BookTube talk about this author a lot, but Jack Ketchum? He writes very, very, very disturbing books. My friend Steve was just recommending The Girl Next Door, but they're so disturbing that I don't think most libraries even carry his books. So I know a lot of people who love really, really dark horror love his stuff, but I'm always looking for it at like used bookstores and I never can find his books anywhere. I know I could just order them off Amazon, but for some reason I just don't like buying books online. But yeah, I need to check out Jack Ketchum. So Nels has a few questions. I don't think I'll answer all of them, but I'll skim through and pick one. So I'm definitely a mountain person. I was diagnosed with discoid lupus a few months ago, or like 6 months ago, so I'm not really supposed to be in the sun, so I wasn't a beach person before and I'm definitely not anymore. Favorite TV show, I would have to say Fleabag is a good one if I'm trying to recommend one that I don't think a lot of you guys would have seen. Because I know you guys probably know about like Haunting of Hill House and kind of stuff that I would stereotypically recommend, but if you haven't heard of or seen Fleabag, it's a really good dark comedy. Matt asked favorite singers, bands. I'm the worst person to ask this question. I don't know, I'm terrible at recommending music. I drink tea and coffee, but if I drink coffee, I don't care if it's negative 20 degrees outside, it's gotta be iced. And favorite non-horror film. This is really hard, and I don't wanna give, this is such like a stereotypical like neckbeard answer because I know on Reddit people always talk about In Bruges, but it's genuinely one of my favorite movies of all time. I remember randomly coming across it with my mom just because it was set in Bruges and we like to travel and we kind of stumbled across it just on the TV, but it is a really, really good dark comedy. Lily asks, what are some of your worst horror book tropes that you've ever read and why, if the reason isn't obvious? So the only way I can answer this is by spoiling a book, but it's a young adult book that's been out for so long and it was really popular a long time ago, but I'm gonna spoil We Were Liars because I hate the trope that's in it and there's no way to explain the trope without spoiling the book. So if you don't want to be spoiled, just mute this and click until We Were Liars isn't on the screen anymore. But I despise when the twist is just, oh, everything was just in their head, or they just have some kind of mental disorder, so they're seeing things that aren't there. And I just thought the twist in We Were Liars was really obvious. Maybe it wouldn't maybe be obvious if you haven't read a ton of thrillers, but if you've read a few thrillers, if you read We Were Liars, it just feels like the author's like bludgeoning you over the head with what the twist is, that by the time it came out, I was like, that was the twist. So I hate that one overall. Brie is wonderful. You should all go subscribe to her. I'll link her channel down below. But she said, if you could be the main character in one of a horror or thriller writer's novel, what author would it be? 100% Karen Slaughter. I think because it feels realistic to be in her since they don't deal with ghosts. She's probably one of my new favorite authors that I've discovered this year. It deals with a lot of serial killers and everything like that, and I love her female protagonists and the way she writes them, so definitely Karen Slaughter. And then she asked, and I like this question, if someone had never watched a horror film before but wanted to and asked for 3 recommendations, what would you immediately recommend? So I'd probably want to think of 3 sort of categories. One that's sort of just on the creepy supernatural side, one that's sort of realistic horror, so it's serial killers, things like that, and one that's a dark horror comedy. So for creepy or supernatural, I'm gonna go with either It Follows or The Ritual, because I think even if you don't like horror, those are just genuinely good movies and really eerie. And then for like realistic serial killer type horror, these are not my two favorite, but again, I'm trying to think of what someone who doesn't like horror or hasn't seen horror would probably enjoy. I think Hush on Netflix is actually really good. I was surprised. And I think that'd be a good like segue into horror. And then for like dark comedy horror that I think is kind of funny, I think, well, this one's very obvious, but probably Get Out. And then one that maybe not as many people have seen, Trick or Treat, is a really fun one to watch around Halloween. Char asks, what horror trope do you want to see more of? I love anything, and I just talked about this when I reviewed No Exit. I didn't call it a trope, I think, then, but I love any situation where people don't know each other, are all trapped in one location and one is a killer. I know it probably feels overdone, but it's rare you find it where it's written really well. Like No Exit, I did not think was very good. So even though it's so overdone, it's rare that it's done really well. And if any of you guys have recommendations aside from like And Then There Were None or Murder on the Orient Express, if any of you guys have other books where that's a trope and you would recommend it, please let me know. Snowmantha, which is Sam from Thoughts on Tomes, I'm sure you guys know her, says, since your job has you moving so often, where is a location you'd like to live and or a location you can see yourself staying longer term if the choice was up to you? So for those of you who don't know, if you haven't been watching me for a while, I'm in like a rotational program at my company. So every 8 months they have us moving. I'm lucky in that I'm in my last rotation right now, and I don't think I've actually said this in a video, but my first rotation was up in Jersey, and then this rotation I'm down south, and for my third rotation, I'm actually getting to stay in the same office, and my third and final rotation has started. I'm in it right now. It just started about a month ago. I would love to live just for a little bit, not forever, in like New Mexico or Nevada, just because it's an area that I've only ever vacationed in. I've never lived there. I've lived outside of Seattle, so I've kind of done the West Coast, but I haven't lived in like a desert type environment, and I love visiting that. So that would be for short term. And then long term, I've always kind of pictured myself in the suburbs of Philadelphia, just because I think Philly's great. I know Philly and New York City have a big rivalry. I definitely prefer Philly. I mainly grew up in like the mid-Atlantic, so Maryland, DC, Virginia, that whole area. So Philly wouldn't be super far from family. The only problem is Pennsylvania, especially like property tax. Pennsylvania is a very expensive state to live in, so that's the only reason it might not work out. And then she asked probably the most important question out of all of them, and I'm not being sarcastic, which is, what are your favorite pizza toppings? Every time it is jalapenos and pepperoni. So it is a few days later. I haven't been the best at vlogging, but it's Wednesday morning and I got up early before work so that I'd have time to cook, because tomorrow we're having an we're having a cookie bake-off competition at work, and so I'm gonna make Oreo cheesecake cookies. I read it's best for them to chill for a super long time, so I'm gonna make all this up, put the dough into the fridge this morning, let it chill all day, and then I can bake them tonight and bring them in tomorrow. I also have to say my absolute favorite Vlogmas person is Taylor R. So if you're not watching her, I highly recommend. I'm very addicted. And if you're curious, the recipe I'm using is this one from Tasty. I wanted to share the coffee I've been obsessed with for those of you guys who might also be obsessed with eggnog, but you're also not trying to gain 20 pounds over the holidays. Basically almond milk eggnog, and it's just a lot less sugar. I don't necessarily care that much about the calories, but eggnog's just in general fairly bad for you with all of the sugar that's added in. So I use a fair amount of this because I don't have to feel bad that I'm filling it up. Does this taste as good as regular eggnog? Absolutely not. Don't let anybody tell you that, but it does satisfy my eggnog craving, and then I don't feel as bad later in the day. It's about 6 p.m. I finished work and I just threw these in the oven and tried one, and I have to say I'm a big fan. Oh my god. I'm gonna say goodbye here. I'm heading out and flying home on Friday, and I can't wait to go home, see all the Christmas decorations, and I will see you guys next Thursday.